Hi, everybody. Welcome to Royal Black and Elite. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Lady TrenettWilson, your lecturer and social historian. I wanted to talk to you about as this whole Minnesota thing explodes, the scandal about the missing $1 to $8 billion. People who are not native born Americans allegedly stealing it and taking it. So that is a subject that people are talking about today because this is the first time that many people who are descendants of slaves are just now finding out about the number of people who are here in this country who are getting paid by the government at the same time the government telling us they can't pay reparations. Now, this video is not about reparations per se, but I want to build a case for how Black people should be moving right now and also give you a snapshot into the history of how money moves in our country. So thank you all for joining me. Hi, Royalers. Thank you all so much for being here. Right now in Minnesota, scandal is erupting. They're finding out that people are stealing money from the government through the Medicaid program, food stamps, all kinds of stuff, you all. And a lot of these people are not American citizens. And so when you look at it, you have to say, well, how are all these people able to do this if the government is not complicit? If the congressman is not complicit? If the representative is not complicit? Allegedly. And I believe one of the reasons is because there have been, and you can look at videos on this called Black Gatekeepers, people who kind of play front face, but in the meantime, they're getting paid in the back door. Please, somebody put down in the comments, how do you come into Congress worth $50,000? Your salary moves to $200,000 because, of course, you're a congressman, and so they're paying you for your services. But in 2 years, you're worth $20 million. I don't care if you were speaking almost every day, once a month for $1 million, which they're not. Who's going to pay them $1 million to come speak? Unless you are on the take, allegedly. So I want to lay out how the Black people have been finessed out of their reparations all these years. Number one, corrupt leaders. We just talked about that. And that's in Africa, that's in America. If the person who is in leadership is corrupt, the people are going to suffer. Period and point blank. The word even tells us that. When the leader is bad, the people suffer. So I believe that's why we are suffering as a people. Number two, we capitulate to holidays and ceremonial awards versus substantial and real money, real access and resources. Oh, we'll get into it. Oh, yeah. I'm going to show you somebody who was able to access some things. And number three, we move out of emotion versus out of logic, information, and facts. If we continue to move this way, y'all, there won't be what's going to happen to us in 3 generations. We have Black women raising 4 and 5 children by themselves right now. And now that food stamps and AFDC is being cut, what are these women going to do? I would say these churches who've been collecting billions for some years, it's time to step up and have a housing program, have a work program, have training programs so this can be the safety net. Because what the government has said is they're not going to be the safety net anymore because these people have been stealing. All of them stealing, y'all. All of them. But it looks bad on us because when they steal, they stealing from us, the people who built this country. And for people who say, oh, you didn't build this country, or Black people didn't. No, 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 no. We even built with our hands Wall Street along with Indians. Native Americans were able to figure out, at the top level anyway, how to get money out of the government, just like the Somalians did there in Minnesota. We have terrible negotiators. Black people have to have the worst negotiators in the country. When all we get is in every Black city a street called MLK and Malcolm X, and it's the worst part of the neighborhood. All we get is holidays and ceremonies. Yeah, what is that? Now, let me tell you who has some good negotiators. the Native Americans. Now, they too have corruption. So when I talk about all this money that they do receive and have received and negotiated for, when America stole their land, so when the Europeans came and stole their land, they said, wait a minute, y'all gonna have to give us a little something for that, for our trouble. And so they did receive some things. So you can see the wealthiest Native American tribes in Minnesota. They make their money through casinos in Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. They make their money through oil. In Idaho, they make their money in hospitality. In Oklahoma, they make their money in oil. And their negotiators, when they went in, let me show you what they got. Now, let's talk about what we received when we came out of slavery. When we came out of slavery, because coming back and fighting for reparations now is hard because it's like when somebody owe you $20 and you say, okay, you're going to pay me this $20 back. Here are the terms of this $20. And if I don't get this $20 back, you're going to have some problems. Well, that's not the case with the black people. We were okay with We Shall Overcome songs and not got the equity, not got the money, the resources that we should have gotten. Y'all, look at my video on 40 acres and a mule. This is what we were negotiating. That's what was negotiated for us when we came out of slavery. And black people negotiated this. Now, when the tribes came out of, that land, the Americans taking that land, they were giving actual dollars. So they were not only given money, but they were also given these reservations. So the Native American would live on this reservation. Now look at the finesse, y'all, as far as leadership, getting the money. So they paid the leaders of the Native Americans who went in there and negotiated for them. They said, now listen, y'all gonna give us land, you gonna give us money, and you're not only gonna give it to us now, you gonna give it to us forever. Forever. So that's how they negotiated. So Americans said, okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll give you some land. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. That's why I was telling you where the wealthiest tribes are. And they have a perpetual way to make money because they make money off the receipts from the casinos. That's why Minnesota is wealthy, not because of industry, but because of these Native Americans. The others, allegedly, through the Somali community, are stealing. So this is what is happening there. Oil, hospitality. That's why black communities are on the edges of these things because they own these industries because they negotiated it many years ago. So y'all wake up. I'm going live Thursday. You know what? Let's go live Thursday. I'm going live Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m., y'all. That's the 11th. Let's go live and let's talk about this. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your voices. But in the meantime, leave your comment down below. Am I talking about anything? Should we keep talking about this? Because I think when the next election come in, I think we've got to be able to move as a collective. I think we need to boot out who's ever black right now who not fighting for us. And I don't care who's making the most noise. In fact, the one making the most noise is the one that we actually should never vote for. So if they loud, then they not for us. For even God says, I move quiet. When I speak to you in your spirit. When I tell you something, I'm not loud with it unless it's an emergency. Like if you're driving down the road, sometimes the Lord say, turn now because there's disaster down the street. And so if you listen to that Holy Spirit, you'll go ahead and turn. So I thank you for joining me for another Royal Black and Elite Cultural Edition. Thank you all so much for watching. Now, I have some great history lessons. So if you want to learn about history, click down below and begin to learn more about our Royal Black and Elite history so you can understand where my passion comes from and where my understanding comes from as far as why I believe we are who we are. And that we're living far beneath the legacy that God has left for us and that our ancestors built for us. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you on another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Thanks for watching.